In this short film, I'm going to talk to you about pre-mastering. It's a very subtle process that all sound engineers use, and I've certainly used it all my working life. And it's a process of really enhancing your final mix, and it's getting it ready for the mastering process. So here we are, we have a small Pro Tools session, and in here we're concerned with the master fader channel. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is to start my track off, because before I do any kind of EQing or compression, I need to listen to the track first, because the rule of thumb is not to add it for the sake of it. You add it only if it needs it. So I'm going to start my track off and have a listen to it, and I can hear now that it's basically a bit of bass. There's some keyboard in there and some acoustic guitar, and there are some drums. So I'm going to give it a quick listen. It's a very organic track, so these are real instruments. But it does feel and sound a little bit dull to me, so let me put my EQ in, get it ready. I'm using a Digirax EQ, which comes free with Pro Tools, which I've used for years. I love them. They're great, they're very transparent and easy to set up. And it feels a little dull to me, so what I have is a preset that I've already put together. It's called my Master EQ preset, and I tend to like my music to be fairly bright, so instantly with my preset we've added in a little top end here. And if I bypass, I'm checking the original against what I'm doing now, and instantly that bit of top end has just given it that bit of sparkle, which is fantastic. I'm just going to drop it down a little bit. It's a little bit bright for me. But I'm going to also add a touch of bass end. Not much, just a little bit. Just tweak that top end again slightly. That's very good, I like that. Get rid of that peak. Okay, I love that. I'm just going to add a bit of compression, because now that I've added extra frequencies, I've effectively lifted the level. So what I want to make sure is that I'm not going to make that overload in any way. So I'm going to add some compression just to keep it all together. But again, it's going to be very, very subtle. So I'm going to add a compressor and then immediately bypass it. Sorry, there it is. I'm going to bypass it because I haven't got my preset in there yet. So I'm going to put my preset in. Again, I've called it my master compressor. And I'm looking at my compression. I've got it at a very subtle compression level. My threshold is very low. That means that it will only kick in when the music gets to a certain level in the mix. I've got a bit of gain on there of 2 dB. So it's going to make a slight bit of difference, but nothing too dramatic. What I want to do is make sure that my compressor doesn't kill my dynamic range. That's the range between the quieter parts of the song and the louder parts of the song. I want to retain that beautiful dynamic range. So let me switch my compressor in. And I can see that my compressor's working in my little reduction section here. My gain reduction section, but it's not pushing it too much. It's not going to make it pump. It's just really holding it together. And if I bypass, the level drops very little, but it is dropping a little. Put it back in, and what it's done is it's just pulled it together. It's just keeping all of my louder parts of the song, it's keeping it down. In fact, I could boost the level very slightly. I'm going to boost that by a dB. Let me bypass again. Put it back in. Constantly checking that I'm not overdoing it. It's a very subtle process. I'm going to drop my gain because I don't want it to overload at all, so I'm going to drop it down a little bit. And I'm going to check again. Yeah, it sounds good to me. So there it is. That's basically it. It's adding that bit of sparkle. I'm just going to add a touch more top end. So here we are, there we are. But that's basically the process. It's really just to add a bit of sparkle, add a bit of compression, just to bring everything together. It's a process I think you're going to really, really enjoy. It will help your mixes to give them life and get them ready for mastering. So give it a go. Play around with the settings until you get it to a place where you're happy with it. And that's the only real way to get used to compressors and to get used to EQs, is to play with the controls, see what they do. But just remember that less is more. Be very, very careful with what you do and enjoy the fact that you're going to give your mixes this little bit of extra shine before mastering.